This is grade 8, chapter 4, part 1, understanding percents. So when we represent percents, we use 100 grids. We know that each 100 grid is 10 by 10, and that means that there's 10 times 10 equals 100 squares in this 100 grid. So the 100 grid shows 100%. How many squares are shaded? 100. Each square represents 1%. So when we go to 130%, we need extra. So we grab another grid and we fill in 30 of these, which equals 3, and they're 10 squares each. So we've got 100 here plus 30 here equals 130%. So it's pretty straightforward. So shade 100 grids to show 350. To shade them, we would fill in all this here. That's 100%. That's 200%. If we fill in this one here, that's 300% here. And we fill this in. Of course, you would do this, much better than I would. And then 50% is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5%. So we'd fill in that there. And that there is 350%. Because we know that 100 plus 100 plus 100 plus 50 equals 350, which is 350%. So that's how we use 100 grids to show 350%. So shade 100 grid to show half of 100. So 100 divided by 50, or sorry, divided by 2, equals 50. I was getting ahead of myself. What percent of the whole grid shaded squares represent? We again, 50%. So you fill that in, and that's 50% right there. So that would equal 50%. The circle, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. What fraction of the enlarged square would you need to shade to show half of 1%? So just like before, when we shade half of, we know that 1% is, or if this whole thing is 1, this right here would equal half of 1%, because 1% equals 1 box, and we've filled in half of it. So right here would be half, but not all of it. So if we're going to show 3/4 of it, we would split it into 2, and then we would fill it. We would color in 3 of the 4 shades, or 3 of the 4 squares. And we know that 3 of them are shaded, 4 of them are, there's 4 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 3 of them are shaded, and one isn't, and that's how we know that it's 3/4%. So describe how to use grids to represent the following types of percent values. Percents greater than 100%, you need a second 100 grid, and the more, it doesn't change the fraction value, it just adds on to. That's how we show it. Describe how to use grids to represent the following types of percent. Percent between 0 and 1%, we fill in less than a full square. So that's how we use that. Percents containing a mixed number greater than 1%. So if it's 4.5%, we would fill in 4 full squares. And we would fill in 1/2, which equals 50%, of 1 square. So that would equal 4.5%. So percent means out of 100, or it's another name for hundredths. So 65 means 65 out of 100, or 65 divided by 100, which equals, it's the same as decimal 0.65. So decimal 65. So right here on this one, we know that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have, out of 10, we have 7 of them filled. So this equals 0.7%. As a fraction, we get this as 0.007%, because in actuality we have 7 of 1/100th. So that's why it's 0.00. To show you what I mean here, 7 out of 1%. Okay, so the keywords are fractional percents, or a percent that includes a proportion of a percent, such as 0.5% or 0.42% or 7 3/8%, etc., etc., etc. Your homework is actually at the back of the class. Please go check that. Thanks.